This video is based on the technical analysis of Dow Jones, which is also known as US30. And at this point in time, we find ourselves on the daily chart, as you guys can see. And in regards to the daily chart, the first thing that I can see is that price had given us what is a very nice W structure over here, right? We expected price actually at this point to move further up, right? And unfortunately the double bottom or W structure failed, where we saw these three candlesticks over here which are bearish moving to the bottom side. In my very humble opinion, I would say that these three candlesticks were just a stop hunt, because as I said guys, price was at a very strong level of support at that level, and then it gave us a very nice double bottom. However, it failed, where we saw the market actually giving us these three bearish candlesticks to the bottom. And that is because, guys, remember, whenever we have these structures, as I always say, right, what normally happens is that a lot of traders and investors actually buy on the second leg of that structure, and they place their stop losses just below, right? So in fact, these three candlesticks did two things, right? Number one, they stop hunted, right? They stop hunted all of those who entered as a result of seeing this reversal candlestick formation over here. And number two, those three candles also induced traders to, or rather traders and investors to keep selling, right? Keep selling and place their stop losses just above, right? So now that the stop hunt has happened, I believe that we are going to see price from this level over here possibly move all the way up to at least this level over here. Why do I say that level? That is because that level is also a very strong level of resistance, as it is the neckline of this M structure. And also we had multiple rejections in and around that area, as you guys can see. So this would be a good point for price to stop, right? But in as far as buy opportunities go at this point, I don't see any, right? Just also bear in mind that as much as I'm saying that I expect price to move all the way up to that level, bear in mind also that we have another M structure over here which has a neckline at that point. To add to this, we can also see that price is at a very strong level of resistance at this point in time, and what may possibly happen is we may see the market from this level retrace somewhat, only to move further up again and perhaps to this level over here, right? Anyway, from here let's head down to the H4 chart and let's see what's happening down there. And here we are on the H4 chart. And just to recap, remember guys, on the daily chart we spoke about how the market had given us a very nice W structure over here. However, the structure failed, where we saw price giving us those three candlesticks over here to actually stop hunt all of those stop losses that were located here, as well as to induce investors and traders to keep selling and place their stop losses just above, right? So what we're likely gonna see next, as I said guys, is price actually continue to move further up, right? Another reason that motivates for why we may potentially see the market move further up is that on the H4 chart we can see also that the market had given us this inverted head and shoulders pattern, with this side being the left shoulder, this being the head, and this area over here being the right hand shoulder, and it has a neckline at that point, right? And remember what I said earlier in regards to the daily chart. I say that price at this point in time is at a very strong level of resistance, and that we may potentially see the market retrace, right? So it is quite possible that the market from this level may retrace to the neckline of this inverted head and shoulders pattern. And at this point over here is where I believe, if this does happen indeed, we should look for those potential buy opportunities. Just also bear in mind that as much as I'm saying that we should look for potential buy opportunities, we also have a gap over here. And as I always say guys, gaps represent liquidity, and liquidity is money, and that money needs to be triggered by the market at one point or another. Another thing that we know is that the markets will always go to where the money is. So as much as I'm saying that from this point we may potentially see price head down to the neckline of that inverted head and shoulders pattern, we may potentially see the market disregard this level, only to push further down to fill that gap, and then from there only move further up. in which case it would give us a huge double bottom, as you guys can see, right? Anyway, from here, let's head down to the H4 chart. However, before I do so, I just want to add an actual neckline for that inverted head and shoulders pattern. Just bear with me. Let's have a look. So we could say more or less that our neckline is at this level over here, right? And as I said, guys, it is the neckline of this pattern over here, which is an inverted head and shoulders pattern, right? And it's also a very strong level of support, as we had multiple rejections in and around that area, and in the future we may see price come back to this level to test it, and at that level is where we may look for potential buy opportunities, especially if the neckline aligns with any key numbers that we have in regards to the Fibonacci retracement tool. And now here we are on the H1 chart, and just to recap, guys, remember on the H4 chart we spoke about this pattern over here, which is an inverted head and shoulders pattern, and we said it has a neckline at that point, and that we may see price from this level, which is a very strong level of resistance, move further down to test that neckline, and at that neckline is where we may look for those potential buy opportunities. But let's just zoom in and see what's happening in regards to the H1 chart. And at this point I really don't see much really, although we can see that we are in an upward trajectory, right? And indeed we should for the most part be looking for those potential buy opportunities.